Hello and welcome. My name's Kathy A, and today I thought I would continue on in my little declutter series. I do this every year, and I think most of us who do YouTube videos get so much stuff to show you, or some stuff gets sent to us. In most cases I purchase things, and if I'm not able to return them, or if I think I may be able to give them my granddaughters or whatever, I will keep them. A lot of things I just keep because they seem sentimental somehow, or they're the beautiful palette, or the decoration's cool. One example of something I've kept is this. It looks like a boom box, you know, who doesn't love this? The eyeshadows, however, aren't as great as they could be. This is a little soundboard. I mean, it's just really cute as a decorative piece, but I'm not going to use this as an eyeshadow palette. So I'm running into that a lot, where I just love the packaging so much, but that's kind of not the point to eyeshadows. So one of the things I did, and I've done this with the lipsticks and with the blushes, is I laminated the eyeshadows. And this way I looked at them side by side, I felt how they swatched, I looked at the color combinations, I looked at the colors just as they are. And you really get a very objective view when you laminate your eyeshadows, because you look at them on a very base level, like what color do I need to use and what color do I have. So I went through all of my eyeshadows and I laminated all of them, and I tell you, there's a ton here. I mean, I must have 50 shades of brown, all the same shade of brown, and I'm giving away a lot of palettes because I'm just not happy. One major thing I noticed, and this is big, this particular palette, this is a MAC palette, and this is a VISEART palette. You see the difference here in how they look? You see how they swatch? And of course, you know, how they swatch and look on your eyes too isn't always the same way they swatch and look on white copy paper, which is what I use, white copy paper, and then I laminated them. But look at how sparse these were, hard to work with. They weren't hardly pigmented. They didn't last on the eye, but there are some unique colors here and there. I ran across the problem a lot with brands. So, you know, in looking at different brands just for their colors and how they swatched, I found favorite colors in each palette that I decided to keep. And then I had debated with some of the palettes that I'm getting rid of. I thought, you know, I really like this one color in this palette. Should I just take it out? Because, you know, you can take out the pans, because all those shadows are just in these little pans, and in some cases slightly bigger pans. You can put them in what they call a Z palette, which is an empty palette that's magnetized, and they give you little magnetized taped things that you can put on the back of your pan, and it makes it magnetized, and then it'll stick there. You can make your own eye palette. So I mean, that's always an option. You can just they give you a little tool too that pokes up. There's usually a little hole underneath the eyeshadows in the palettes, and you poke it up with this, and you can get underneath to pull the shadow out. But I have a lot of palettes. I'm going to keep them whole for now, and the ones that I'm getting rid of, I'm actually going to keep those whole as well, because I don't want to give them away to somebody and they got a missing color. That just wouldn't be right. So, but it is an option for those of you at home, if you are going to get rid of, like this Morphe palette, for instance. It was okay. It wasn't a great palette. This is the 35 Peak. And this has a lots of purples and browns and mauve muted colors. These look really pretty with green eyes and gray eyes. Really, really beautiful colors for those. And I found a few of these colors were very, very beautiful and rich and buttery and pigmented. But the bulk of this palette, I really have these colors in other places, and there really wasn't a good like a crease shade in here. There was one shade up here that I could use as a base shade, and then there was these really cool purples, but I have them in other places. I have all these purples in other places. This light purple was just outstanding up in the top here, and I almost kept this palette just for that one color. But I'm going to get rid of it, and I think the Morphe palette, and this is what it looks like swatched. The swatches are nice, but that doesn't always mean that it's going to last on your eye or that it's made out of the top ingredients that are good for you. A lot of eyeshadow palettes are made with, well, it's basically crushed rock. You know, it's crushed rock, and they add color pigments to it, and they press it into these little pans. And I think that that's it's what's around it. You know, it's the palette itself that's around it that makes us attracted to it. And I look at the colors that are in it with the other colors that are in it, and like this one looked like it was going to be a lot of fun. And it's hardly any pigment to any of these colors. There's a couple here that are pretty good. This is the BH Cosmetics that I just picked up recently at Kohl's. They're carrying the BH Cosmetics line. There is a nice base shade here. I couldn't find a crease shade at all in this palette. This is not a functional palette. There's just a couple of decorative colors in here. The turquoises I have somewhere else. This was a beautiful silvery blue. I did like that very much, the silvery blue color. But it wasn't enough to hold this palette to me. The pink was nice. They had some greens and golds. It looks like it's a pretty well-balanced palette. When you start using it, it's like, these colors are kind of weak. Some of them went on and you could only see kind of the glitter, the micro glitter. You couldn't see the color. It didn't really transfer well. So I'm going to get rid of the BH Cosmetics thing. There are some good colors in here and somebody could find use for them, but unfortunately I did not like them. These are funny because they mark them as matte or satin or duochrome on here. They don't say their color names or whatever, but I think we could figure out something satin or matte. But anyway, this is going out. This was sent to me in PR, and you know, like, I don't get a lot of makeup in PR. I usually get wrinkle cream because when you're old, you get wrinkle cream. You know, you get hand cream, wrinkle cream. This was the Siennas, and this was from the Daydream series that Profusion came out with, and they are out of Target. Now, this is one of those things where there's some really pretty colors in here mixed in with not so pigmented colors. So I have these colors in other palettes, and I'm just keeping the palettes that have these colors, and I'm going to give this away. I'm not giving away junk, I'm just giving away things that I have more use of in other palettes. You know, I have a lot of palettes, and this is something that, you know, it looks like perfect for autumn, and it's just, there's a couple of colors that are kind of nice, but the pigmentation is just not there. I think Profusion excels in their brow products, and sometimes their eye and cheek products, but not this particular palette. So this is going. Kat Von D. This is something that it's sold out. It's sold out. It's a beautiful packaging. She is a tattoo artist and an artist in general. She does gorgeous portraiture. She's a very edgy person. There's a little controversy going on right now about her that I think is kind of silly, but I really like her. She's vegan, she's, you know, an interesting person, she's lived an interesting life, and she's artistic. And I think the artistic side of her brings a quality to her products. The color combinations, the green and the blue down here are just outstanding, beautiful colors. The gold is beautiful, and this kind of orangey, silvery red color. It's very, very pretty. Her shadows are always very well pigmented. This is one of those palettes where you have a base color, a dark color, and then you can use this as your transition crease shade, but they're really, again, there is this warm crease transition shade, but I don't like it so much. And this olive green comes off different than it looks in the palette. So I'm thinking that this is probably something I might not hang on to. And I know it's limited edition and it's just gorgeous, and you know, I'm a big fan of hers, but I'm not going to use it. I don't reach for this palette, and if you're not reaching for a palette, it's really just dead weight in your collection, and it keeps you from using the stuff you really love and stuff that looks good on you. So this is going. Norvina. This one had a lot of fallout. Every time I've worn this, I've always wound up finding fallout on my face in the middle of the workday. I think that there's some really lovely colors in here, and I think the shimmers are beautiful. It does have a light color. It has sort of a crease color, and then it has a dark color, so you can do a base eye with it. It's got a nice mahogany dark shade as well that's matte. And this soulful color is kind of interesting, but I have these colors in other palettes, and it's a messy palette. It's messy. It's very softly pressed, and because it's softly pressed, it's almost like using loose pigments. It's so sensitive to that. I'm going to get rid of this only because I think somebody else will really enjoy it. A lot of people love this palette, but it's a one-trick pony with me. It didn't really do a lot for me in different ways. I couldn't make 5 or 6 different eye looks with it. I could only kind of make versions of the same one. So Norvina is going. Now I love this palette, and I talked about it because I actually had it up against the Norvina, and I thought this was better than the Norvina. This is the Foiled Again palette from the Balm. It's got a nice mirror. But look at the colors here. Now this whole bottom row are mattes, and that makes a perfect basic eye. A perfect basic eye. So you've got your basic function right there, and then you've got all these colors up in here that are beautiful shimmers. This one in particular is beautiful. It comes off a little differently than it looks in the pan. It's a beautiful shimmery, silvery, mauve color. It's a very unique color. I would take that out of the palette if I was not giving it away. And there's, you know, I'm getting lots of golds and lots of reds and lots of these pinky and pinky red kind of foiled shades. You don't need to wet the brush with these foil shades. That's one thing I noticed about this palette that gave it a real quality and why I didn't return it. But I'm going to give it up because I have a few palettes that have these colors in them, and there's more in the pan, and it's less trouble for me to look for colors I want to use. So I am going to give this up, and it's nearly brand new. This is the Lemonade palette from Maybelline. The Lemonade Craze. Yeah, there wasn't a scent to this. For some reason I thought there was going to be a scent. I like the light gold. I really like the yellow. I do have these colors. Once again, I have these colors in other palettes. So I'm going to pass this on to somebody who will enjoy and appreciate it. I did have to foil using my setting spray to get some of these colors to be pigmented enough. So if I struggle in the least little bit with a palette, I'm not going to reach for it. So the Lemonade Craze is going. And I love some of the colors in here. They're very, very unique and beautiful colors. But I do have similar shades in other palettes, and it's going. This is the After Dark palette, and this is from Bad Habit. These are some of the most high quality shadows I've ever used. This particular palette came in a set. There were 4 different palettes in this set. This one is just got a little bit too much orange and brown going on for me. I have these colors in other palettes, and it just wasn't enough. This isn't functional on its own. Because of you can use this light shade and you can use the darker shade, but there's no good crease shade or transition shade in here. The reds are beautiful and oranges are beautiful. It's extremely pigmented. I think Bad Habit, which is on the Hush website, I think Bad Habit is one of the nicest eyeshadow companies I've dealt with. I think they rival VISEART and Natasha Denona shadows in quality. They're that good. So you can get these on the Hush website, and I think that they are probably the best bargain that you can find. It's just the unusual color combinations that they have put me off of this a little bit, but I do go on Hush once in a while and try things out, and most of the time it works out, but you know, funky colors, yeah. Alright, I'm going to show you something I'm keeping. And this is also a Bad Habit palette, and this is called After Hours, and this is, there's my mirror, this is a good basic functional palette, and it's got some fun colors with it as well. So you've got your light color, you can see I have hit pan there on this light color. You've got a crease color here that's matte, and then you've got a dark color here, and you've got a dark mahogany brown color as well. And then you've got these pinks and reds and shimmers. They're just gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I love them. This is a beautiful palette, and it's very unique in that it has fun colors, but yet you still have the basic functioning eye palette. So this is an excellent palette, which I'm keeping. These don't fall under eyeshadow palettes, but they are eyeshadows, and they're, I think, the only singles I'm keeping actually. These are from MagnifEyes, and they are eyeshadow crayon pens. This one is Royal Plum. Show you that. It's just beautiful. There's a good lasting power with these, and you have the liner capability with these as well. You can line your eyes very easily with them. This one is Brownstone. And again, you can actually do a one shadow eye look with this color. It's a nice, beautiful taupey brown shade. So I've kept these. Those are from MagnifEyes. MagnifEyes doesn't get talked about a lot on YouTube, and I think it's a shame because they've got some beautiful products, and I really like her as a person. I think she's a really kind, nice person. Drugstore. These will surprise you that I've kept these, but I really like these, and I think they're fairly good quality for being drugstore products. This is the MagnifEyes Electric Violet and the MagnifEyes Spice Edition from RIMMEL. And RIMMEL has really upped their game. They've got a whole series of these. I am getting rid of some of them, but I'm keeping these too. I think the Crimson is one that I had to debate it, but I decided to let it go because I do have those shades. Spice has a lot of really nice shades. They compare it a lot with the Urban Decay Heat palette because it has a lot of the similar shades to that. And then the Electric Violet has some beautiful purple shades and a turquoise thrown in there as well, and a nice charcoal gray. Just a very, very pretty assortment for traveling or to have as a spare, and it is drugstore. So I wanted to keep some drugstore so I wouldn't be so snooty upper high-end, you know, because most of my choices that I kept are high-end. So I did decide to keep this from Makeup Revolution, and this is their Eye Contour Palette, the Shade and Light, which is their direct rip-off of Kat Von D's Shade and Light Eye Palette. You have your quadrants here. This is your warm, your cool, and your neutral quadrants. You've got your eye, lid, your transition, and your dark, and then you've got, like, you know, a nice crease shade or whatever. And the same thing, you've got the light, you've got the crease, you've got the dark corner, and you've got a transition light base here. You can use this on the eyebrow area. You've got your crease tone and then your darker outer tone. You can mix and match these any way you want, but I think they were originally set up to be able to cover a variety of undertones. People have pinker, cooler undertones, can wear this very well, and into the neutrals. People with golden undertones can wear this really easily, and then maybe take some of the black or the dark brown from there. So I think it's a very nice palette. The quality does rival Kat Von D's. In this particular case, not all of Makeup Revolution shadows do that. I think that it's a surprise sometimes how bad some of the shadows are. But with Makeup Revolution, I think some of their shadows are just poorly matched together. I'm really looking forward to, and I do have it on order, it's coming this week, the Emily Noel. She has 2 palettes that she has collaborated with Makeup Revolution, and they are coming. I didn't have them in time for this particular show, but I want to use them a few times before I review them for you. I'll probably review them by the weekend on Labor Day, and I will be doing my giveaway at that time. Something else I'm keeping. VISEART is kind of my go-to brand. If I had to pick one brand of eyeshadows that I can say without a doubt I would totally recommend everything in the line, it is the VISEART eyeshadows. I don't like other products from VISEART. I don't like their eye primer. I don't like their blush stuff. I don't like their contour palette. I love their eyeshadows. This is the Bohemn Dream, and it looks like it's got some really wild colors in there. These are all shimmer shades. These are the reason that I can get rid of a lot of those other palettes, because all those unique colors in those other palettes are right here, and they're just beautiful on the let me just take this. You can see some of these colors just a teeny bit goes a long way. So, I mean, this keeps me fresh. This kind of a thing will keep me very fresh, and it's on sale right now at Sephora. As I'm doing this show, there's actually the Sephora 20% off sale going on. These are on sale for $64, the Bohemn Dream, and this particular one, and I think 3 other of them are already on sale, so you get that additional 20% off of the sale price. So this was a great deal. This isn't my favorite of the palettes because this is kind of a decorative addition kind of color palette. This isn't something I would make a base eye with. So this is the Bohemn. I also have, this is the Bridal Satin, it's called. These are beautiful, gorgeous. These are also satin shades. And these are a little more conservative. This is the Bijou Royale, and the Bijou Royale is my favorite of the satin palettes. It's just got a lot of beautiful, simple colors that you can add to just really zing up your basic eye. Now the basic eye can come from these 2 palettes. This is the Warm Mattes and Cool Mattes. This is actually the Neutrals palette #1. This is the most famous. This is something you should start with if you've never had one. Now they also have smaller palettes, which I think are 6-pan palettes, Theory palettes they're called. There's a beautiful one that's in amethyst, and then they have another one I think is cashmere or something, but this is a great starter for VISEART. Once you have this, this is all your basic eye, this is your lid shades. Then you've got some beautiful transition and crease shades. You've got a little bit of highlight shade here. You've got some blue to add a little interest. You've got black or dark brown. And then you have these shades here for, you know, added warmth around the outside edge of your crease shade. This is beautiful. And this is the #1, I believe. Yeah, this is the Neutral Mattes. And the Cool Mattes is kind of an extension. This is kind of taking the color range out a little bit. You've got a beautiful dark jewel tone, purpley blue color. You've got a beautiful dark purple. You've got your pink. You've got a white. These are all matte shades. You've got your charcoal grays, which are beautiful. Your taupey color. This is a beautiful color to line under your eyes with. But it's not boring at all. I really love them. But the biggest eyeshadow palette from VISEART is this one, and I believe Sephora doesn't feature it in their sales. You can't even find it on the Sephora site, but they do have it other times of the year. You can find this on Beautylish. It's just gorgeous. This is the Grande Pro 1, Volume 1. Now if you look at these colors, you can see you've got pretty much everything you need. Now I think this runs around $125, so it's expensive, but I would take this and the VISEARTs, and that's all you need. You don't need anything else. So it's all a matter of packaging, brand loyalty, cutesy stuff, or you may see a color or two you don't have in your collection and you pick it up. These are my palettes. That's it. I don't have any others. These are my only palettes. And you just saw the VISEARTs, the RIMMELs. That's it. That's all I have. That's all I kept. Everything else is going out. And it wasn't hard. And you know, when I put my makeup on this morning for work, it's a joy now because I see all the colors. I know that all these colors look good. I know they work for me, and I have a variety. I can wear this weird colored green if I want, or I can have purple or red or pink or yeah, hot yellow. So continuing on with things I'm getting rid of, these are all going to go into the giveaway, so you'll probably be interested in that. This is the EyLure and Vegas Nay collaboration, and I liked this actually. It's a very nice palette, but again, it's all those basic colors I already have. Now this is a brow and an eyeshadow palette, so the texture of these shadows is very creamy. It's very interesting. You can use all of these colors from here over the colors, and then this white panel here is wax actually for brows. You can use these like blondes, you can change the colors of your brows out, and you can use all of these as a basic neutral eye palette. And the quality is outstanding for a drugstore priced palette, and this was on sale at Ulta, I think for $7.99 the last time I looked. But this is, if you see it, I would say pick it up because it's outstanding. This is the Vegas Nay and EyLure collaboration called Brow and Shadows. And that is, you can find that in Ulta right now. I'm sure wherever they sell EyLure products, they might have this, hopefully. So that is going. So continuing on with the things I'm going to get rid of. This is Thrive Cosmetics, and I love this brand. I love the whole concept of what they do. For every product you buy from Thrive, they donate a product to a woman going through cancer treatments or in a shelter, and they have several partners with different charity groups that work with women in need. And I think it's a fabulous idea. And because of that, the price points of these products are a little bit higher than you would expect to pay. This particular eyeshadow palette is called the Warm Neutrals, I believe. And the packaging is very, very rich and thick, and it feels substantial. It doesn't feel like it's going to break apart. It's not like there's some things. And it says, you're perfect just the way you are. In the mirror here, there's a beautiful mirror. But the colors are beautiful. You've got a nice, large, plain color you can use as your base shade. You've got a shimmer shade you can use also as a highlighter. And then you've got 5 eyeshadows in regular pans. You've got your base lid shade, and then you've got a nice crease color, a warm color for transition. You've got 2 different shades of dark brown, and you've got a black. You can use this to line your eyes. You can do your brows with this. You can do an amazing amount of things with this palette. The pigmentation is outstanding. It's creamy, it's pigmented, it lasts all day. I love this palette actually, and I will stand up for them. There are some people who think that the pricing is just too high, but I say that part of what you pay for when you buy this is you are contributing to the charity, and I think that that is not a bad thing. It really isn't. So I do like Thrive Cosmetics. I know they are developing their line to also include foundation, I believe, and also other products, so I will be checking back there to see what they have. I didn't have so much luck with their blushes, but I did love the eyeshadow. it's going. Wet n Wild has wonderful eyeshadow palettes, and for a drugstore, I totally recommend them. I think Nude Awakening is a perfect basic starter eyeshadow palette. If you don't have anything, this is a great one to start with. They're like $5, $6. They're not expensive at all. Not your basic peach. Then there's the Roses in the Air, Comfort Zone. These are all beautiful palettes. I am getting rid of them not because I don't like them, but because I do have these colors in other formats, and I know someone else can enjoy these. I love these. These shadows do rival high-end shadows, and everybody who's on YouTube has at least one of these in their collection. I spoke about the Rimmel palettes I was keeping. These are the ones I'm not keeping, and it's not because they're not high quality, it's just because the color range didn't work for me. This is the Crimson one, and then we have the Jewel Rocks one. It has, you know, a nice assortment there. I didn't find that the pigmentation was that good on this one, unfortunately. And with this one, the colors were just all too pinky, magenta-y, and those aren't really the shades that I find as flattering on me, but I'm sure they'd be flattering on somebody else, so I'm gonna pass these on. I was very impressed with LA Girl. These are the little quads that they have, and I like them. I have all these colors in other formats. I think that some of these are great eyeshadows. You know, I think they're $3 for each one, and you can't get too much better than that. The colors are very vibrant. They work really well and they last. So I'm getting rid of them only because, again, I have these shades already, and it's just silly to keep them. It's just dead weight. It really is. For single shades, this is the L'Oreal, I think it's Golden Emerald. Now this is a pigment, and it's kind of odd. It's got a little pressy thing, looks like a garbage can lid, and you press down your own pigment, then you stick your brush in there. It's a very strong kind of golden green color, and it looks very nice, but I have other shades that I feel that look pretty much the same thing, and single eyeshadows for me, they don't get used. I don't reach for them, and it's a shame because it's a beautiful color. Smaller Wet n Wild, this is the Petalite, I believe. Yeah, the Petalite. This is the purple shades, and I do have these purples, or I would keep this. It's got a beautiful like lid shade. It's got a beautiful transition crease. It's got a nice dark shade, and then you've got a pop of color here. It's really a nice, well-organized little thing. Yeah, this is one of the new trios. Really, really nice. But again, I have these colors. So now I couldn't resist CoverGirl's Chocoholic palette. It's neutral colors, and it does smell like chocolate to a degree. Yeah, it's sort of chocolatey. It's kind of like when you open up Nestle's Quick, you know, that smell. It smells like that. It's got some nice neutral shades. There's no mirror in this particular compact. I found they weren't as pigmented as I liked, and it didn't seem to last as long as I would have liked. But there is a nice variety of colors. I used this one and this one to line under my eyes, and that worked out really nicely. You've got your base lid shade. You've got a nice you know, crease shade, you've got transition, you've got a nice dark shade for the corner. So I think this is the one where a couple of the shades didn't look like they did in the pan when I put them on my eye. But anyway, I just don't see the need to keep it when I have so many of these shades times 2 in other palettes. The last palette I am going to get rid of, and it's actually a surprise. This is the LA Colors Matte eyeshadow, and this is in the Matterific. this is perfect, basic palette. If you're in a rush, don't have a lot of money, this is a great one to pick up at the last minute. I didn't find anything totally wrong with this, but again, I have these shades. This is a nice combination from LA Colors. You can find this in Dollar General. Also, Family Dollar has this, and this isn't a particularly nice grouping. So like I said, you can go through all of your eyeshadow palettes and swatch them, and then you could compare. It was kind of fun for me to see how many of the high-end colors compared with some of the low-end colors. But then I actually put them on my eye side by side, and they didn't look the same. So I think that, you know, giving up some of these has been not as painful as I thought. And some of these colors I didn't think I'd be able to duplicate, but I did. I found it in the VISEART palette. I found the unusual shades. And not all of these palettes, again, they're not all bad, they're just not as good as the ones I kept. So this is all that I have left of my eyeshadow collection. This is it. This is everything. And I can tell you the majority of it, it's VISEART. And then there's the 5 smaller VISEART palettes. The Bad Habit palette. Makeup Revolution, that's like Kat Von D. 2 RIMMELs. And then the 2 single shade sticks. That's it. That's all I've got. And I'm happy as a clam. Anyway, I hope all of you can be inspired to go through your collection, because what it'll do is it'll make you learn to love what you have and not always so excited to have to run off and get the next best thing. These things didn't work for me. And I did a special on this. I actually did like this particular palette a lot, but it didn't last very well. The colors weren't very pigmented. Just stinking cute. So I want to keep this for like a decoration because it's very novel, but I have no use for it as an eyeshadow palette. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful for you. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out. Hope everybody's having a wonderful week and have a beautiful day. Take care. Toodles.